Hi everyone. On this video I'm going to be talking about coping with Christmas or any other holidays or usual celebrations that you might be having. I'm talking about Christmas because at this time of year it's almost impossible to escape it. There's trees up, there's lights up, there's everything in the shops, it's on the telly. You just can't avoid Christmas. And if you're dreading Christmas Day or you're worrying about how you're going to cope, if it's the first year that you haven't got your fur baby with you, or perhaps because every other year you've got upset at this time, it can make it quite a traumatic experience for you. So in a little while I'm going to teach you a technique, how to get through the anxiety, how to manage and how to cope. But some other things that you can do as well is to make sure that at this time of year in particular you honour the life of your pet. Honour the life and all the things you loved about them. Perhaps it was the way that they always used to steal food from the table. Or perhaps they were always trying to get the baubles from the tree, or rushing around in and out of the wrapping paper, or jumping on the table when you were trying to wrap the presents, or running off with the ribbon. Think about all the things you loved about them. Perhaps how when you were upset they used to come and give you a cuddle because they just knew. If they were a support animal, a support pet, that as well is something you need to bear in mind. How are you going to get your support this year if you don't have another support animal? They're all the kinds of things people worry about. What are the family going to say? Are they going to understand why you might suddenly get so upset? So it's important to honour the life of your pet. It's the first step in grieving. That's why as human beings we tend to have funerals and ceremonies. You can do that with your pet as well. You might have already done something like that. I know some things clients have done, and I've seen them online as well, is they take pictures of their pets and they make baubles or decorations, or they put them in photo frames and put Christmassy things around them. And perhaps they take them out every year with the Christmas tree. And it might be upsetting when you first do it, going through all the photographs, but it's a wonderful way to honour the memory of your pet and the life of your pet. And if you think about it, if they were looking down and they could talk to you, what would they say? Would they want you to be constantly upset and crying? Or would they want you to remember the good times? The times when you were with each other? I bet they would. You can share stories with each other. Share stories with other members of your family or friends if they understand. Perhaps you can make an album or like a storybook about them, or write poems. Anything to honour the memory of your pet and make it seasonal. And in that way you don't start to dread the feeling of Christmas quite so much. You do what you need to do for you. Never mind what anybody else thinks. Make sure you honour the life of your pet in the way that is right for you. So one of the techniques I'm going to be showing you is tapping. And there's lots of different sorts of tapping. And the one I'm going to show you is TFT, or thought field therapy, and it's the original one. Now I'm going to show you something for anxiety, because quite often when people are grieving or when they're worried about a particular event such as Christmas, they get these anxious feelings, worrying about what's going to happen. What if they get upset at the wrong time? What if they can't cope? So that's what I'm going to be showing to you today. Now, if you were to come for an individual session, you might get a different kind of tapping. I might teach you something different because you might have anger or guilt or something like that. But the one I'm going to show you today is the one that most people can use. In a moment, I'm going to go through the points with you. So where to tap. And each time you tap, I want you to breathe in and breathe out for longer so that all the breath is gone from you, or as close as possible anyway. You feel really empty. You're breathing out all the anxiety. And I want you to think about what is upsetting you. Is it the fact that you might get upset when you look at a picture? Is it that you're just missing your pet all of the time? Whatever it is that's upsetting you, think about it as you tap. Now, we don't do a set number of taps, so it's not like you're counting 10 times tapping here and 10 times tapping there. What you're doing is breathing in, breathing out for longer, and moving on to the next point, and all the time thinking about your pet and what's upsetting you. So I'll show you the points first of all, and then I'll do the sequence with you. And if you want to, you'll be able to rewind the video so that you can learn the sequence if you think you might not remember it. Now, some people like to do this just to practice in front of the telly so they can get the sequence off by heart, and that's fine. But when you're doing it for real, just go somewhere quiet and think about your pet. Think about those feelings that are inside of you. In a lot of therapies, you need to think about the positive things. But this is the one time when it's okay to think about how upset you really are. And that's really important. That's actually the thought field in the title, Thought Field Therapy, is thinking about the things that are making you anxious. Okay, so the first point is going to be on the side of your hand here, almost like a karate chop. And it doesn't matter if you do the left or the right side or use the left or the right hand, because we're going to be swapping in a minute anyway. The second point is your index finger, and you're going to tap just on the side next to where your nail is. Then under your nose. Then under your lip or the middle of your chin. And then under your nose again. And then we're going to swap hands, so the hand that was doing the tapping is now going to be tapped. So index finger again, and then on the side of that hand, that karate chop there. And then right at the end, we're going to give the chest a big old thump. And there's a reason that gorillas do this in the wild, because it makes you feel stronger and more powerful when you do it, and able to cope with just about anything. So it's a really good way to end the sequence. Okay, so again, we're going to breathe in, breathe out for longer, and move on to the next point. Okay, so you're ready to start? So the side of one of your hands there. All the time thinking about what's upsetting you. Now move on to your index finger, and you can use 2 fingers to tap like that. Now under your nose. Remember, think about what's upsetting you. Under your lip. Under your nose again. Now swap hands. Okay, so now your index finger again. And the side of your hand. Now give your chest a big old thump. And how are you feeling now? Now what most people find is when they're breathing out all the upset, all the upsetting feelings. And so you should feel better. So if you're feeling a bit sickish or, just really anxious or anything like that, just upset, this is a really good technique to help you. And you can teach it to other people. If you've got children in your house that are upset with the pets or other adults, it's fine. Great one to use because you can't do any harm with it. So even if you get the sequence a bit wrong, it doesn't matter. It may not help you because it's a bit like a recipe where you need to put things in the right order, but it's not going to hurt you if you make a mistake. So do that with all the family. You know, you can sit round and do it together. And if you've got a teenager who's been a bit quiet about it all and doesn't want to talk about it, this is really good to teach them, because then they can go in the privacy of their own bedroom where they don't need to be in front of everybody, and they can just do it for themselves. And it helps with any kind of anxiety. It's just a really good all-round technique. So remember some ways to help you cope with Christmas. Honour the memory of your pet. Look at pictures, share stories, write a poem, make a collage, put Christmas decorations that remind you of your pet on the tree. Honour the life of your pet, all the things you loved about them. Practice the tapping to help you get through. And you want to do the tapping 2 or 3 times a day at least. Even if you're feeling okay, it's good to do. It can be, it's almost like putting money in a piggy bank, so it's storing it up for when you really need it. It's easier to latch a habit onto a habit, so you can do something you can do every time you wash your hands, and we're doing that all the more frequently lately. You can do the tapping, do the technique, just so that you get in the habit of doing it. Okay, I wish you all the best for the holidays, and I hope this helps you to get through. And if you've got any other ideas or techniques that you think might help other people, feel free to write them in the comments underneath, because we're all here to help each other get through this. I'll be raising a glass to my Oscar, my little pussycat that passed away just a few years ago. We always remember him, and also other humans that have passed away as well. So maybe you'll raise a glass to absent friends on Christmas night as well. Or maybe you'll just do the tapping or just share the stories. Whatever is right for you, as I always say, let it happen. Grief is an individual thing. And if we can all help each other through, that's a really good thing. Bye for now.